Rick and Morty is one of the best shows on TV. The spoof is only a spoof until a character you care about gets hurt. I don't mean slapstick hurt. Emotionally hurt. After that, everything that happens has weight. You care. The outcome of the story isn't of purely sporting interest anymore. Suddenly, you care nearly as much as you would if this were a real movie. You cheer for the heroes not just to beat the bad guys, but also to deal with their personal issues, whatever they are. Wes Anderson gets this. Sometimes Mel Brooks seemed to get it, too, the moment in Young Frankenstein where the creator embraces his hounded, terrified creature has some of the same melodramatic power as the film it sends up. Hurt is the reason I have to remind myself, when making a list of the best Star Trek movies, that Galaxy Quest isn't technically one of them. That story is essentially Star Trek meets Three Amigos, but when the faux Enterprise crew realizes that the aliens who asked for their help are victims of genocidal persecution and get a glimpse of suffering so harrowing that the film itself won't dare let us see it, it's as if the movie slaps the smile off of our faces. I'm not sure exactly when Adult Swim's science fiction comedy Rick and Morty, which returns for its third season on Sunday, gave viewers the back of its hand. It might have been the episode in season 1 where teenage Morty Smith, by which I mean the one true Morty, aka the Morty of C-137, grandson and assistant boozing scientist and interdimensional troublemaker Rick Sanchez, had to bury the corpse of one of his alternate reality doppelgangers in his backyard. Then again, maybe it was the episode where Morty fathered a child via an alien sex robot and watched it grow to adulthood overnight and embrace its genetic predisposition toward violence and cruelty. The first half of that episode, Raising Gazerpazerp, was a queasily effective look at the consequences of cultural and capitalist exploitation. Yes, really filled with sight gags that tightrope walked the line between highbrow clever and lowbrow brilliant in classic Rick and Morty fashion. The rest of it was a backwards-pass version of a family drama about an intellectual father who loved his brutal look of a son but was horrified by how different they were, and was unable to stop him from hurting himself and others and bringing shame upon the bloodline. The series is shockingly funny, even when it goes into dark/disturbing mode, but moments like these confirmed that there was more going on than a bawdy, violent, nihilistically hilarious riff on science fiction cliches and scientific principles, built around a character who's like the Doctor reimagined by Armando Iannucci. Rick and Morty is executive produced by Justin Roiland, who voices both title characters, and Dan Harmon. Their writing staff has points of crossover with Harmon's live-action sitcom, Community, which likewise managed to make you feel for characters who kept reminding you that they were characters and that everything happening on screen was some kind of construct. In season 2, Rick and Morty doubled down on serialized storytelling and allowed the consequences of Rick and Morty's misadventures and indulgences to accumulate from week to week, in the manner of a straight-faced, science fiction drama like Lost, Battlestar Galactica, or Westworld. By the end of the season, Rick had to surrender himself to alien jailers and accept punishment for crimes against the universe. Rick's actions and Morty's complicity in them had consequences for their family as well, deepening tensions between Morty's older sister Summer Spencer Grammer and the kid's parents, the level-headed horse surgeon Beth Sarah Chalka, and their posturing, insecure, incompetent father Jerry Chris Parnell. Without giving too much away, I can tell you that the first 2 episodes of season 3 push the idea of actions having consequences even further. Like Futurama, another spoofy, animated, science fiction comedy at stage episodes as sad as they were funny, Rick and Morty raids countless prior classics for visual and narrative inspiration. The second episode leans pretty hard on Mad Max, Fury Road, while the season premiere, which aired months ago as in April Fool's Day surprise, mimes the classic original Star Trek two-parter The Cage, but as it delves into Rick's simultaneously liberating and destructive impact on his children and grandchildren, it becomes nearly as melancholy as BoJack Horseman. The idea of Rick and Morty as a dark fantasia about the collateral damage of substance abuse has never gotten its due. The subject is front and center at the start of season 3, even when Rick, Morty, and Summer are escaping to yet another alternate dimension and riding with post-apocalyptic mutant nomads in souped-up junk mobiles. I'm going to what used to be Seattle to hunt what used to be humans, Summer informs Rick. Stay hydrated, he replies. All the characters, but Rick especially, prove to have complex and often self-negating motivations once you think about why they're doing things and not just what they're doing. The pickled old scientist is a serial abandoner of families as well as a particular kind of brilliant screw-up, the kind whose chaotic lifestyle makes his rare moments of heroism, many of them byproducts of selfishness, stand out more. No union based on running from your problems lasts more than 5 years, 7, tops, he announces, with unsettling authority. Nobody's special to him. Summer. Morty whines to his sister, trying to disabuse her of any illusions she still has about her grandfather, not even himself. Along the way, the series makes smart observations about the way money drives politics, the circumstances under which violence is justified as patriotism, and the tendency of humans to substitute gadgets for love and self-medicate instead of dealing with the roots of their troubles. Rick and Morty has always been one of the wildest shows on TV. It's time to admit that it's also one of the best.